Have you ever sat in your favorite chair, maybe with a warm cup of tea in your hand, and wondered, have I said everything I need to say to the people I love most? Not just the everyday things like, don't forget your coat, or call me when you get home. I mean the deeper things, the things that really matter, the kind of conversations that stay in the heart long after the words are spoken. As we move through our 60s, 70s, and beyond, life takes on a different rhythm. We have more time to reflect. We think more about the past, and maybe even more about what we're leaving behind. It's natural. And sometimes, if we're honest, that quiet thought creeps in. What haven't I said yet? So today, I want to talk with you, not at you, but with you, about 5 conversations every senior should have with their family before it's too late. Not to scare anyone, not to be dramatic, but because time has a funny way of slipping by. And the truth is, these conversations can bring us closer, bring peace to our families, and most importantly, help us feel heard, seen, understood. You see, these aren't just talks to check off a list. These are heart-to-heart moments, ones that can make all the difference when the time comes that we can't speak them anymore, and I don't want you to miss that opportunity. So let's begin. The first conversation is about your values and life lessons. Now, I know you might be thinking, oh, they've seen how I live. They already know what matters to me. But here's the thing, they don't always know why. Why you always insisted on kindness. Why you never left the dinner table without saying thank you. Why you never let anyone go to bed angry. Maybe your grandkids don't know that during tough times. You had to choose between paying bills and buying groceries. And that's why you don't waste food. Maybe your children never heard the full story about how you met your spouse or what it felt like to leave your hometown behind and start fresh somewhere new. These are the things that shape a family's soul. They're not just stories, they're anchors. When you share them, you're passing down a kind of invisible strength. You're saying, this is what I lived. This is what I learned. And this is what I hope you carry forward. And don't worry if you feel like you ramble or you get emotional. That's actually the beauty of it. There's nothing more powerful than hearing a real, lived truth from someone you love. Sometimes just saying, I want you to know why honesty mattered so much to me, can spark a conversation that lasts for hours and leaves a legacy that lasts for generations. The second conversation you need to have is about your wishes for your health and medical care. Now, I know this one can feel uncomfortable. No one likes to think about being sick or needing help. But let me ask you this. Wouldn't you rather your family know what you want than have them guessing and worrying later on? Imagine your daughter or son standing in a hospital room trying to make a decision for you without really knowing what you'd choose. That's not a burden you want to leave them with, and you don't have to. Take a quiet moment one day, invite them over, or sit down on the phone if they live far away. Say something simple like, I'd like to talk about some things that are important to me, just in case I ever can't speak for myself. Then tell them what kind of care you'd want, if you want every possible treatment or if you'd prefer comfort and peace. Would you want to be at home if it came to that? Who would you trust to speak for you if you couldn't? These are personal choices, and there's no right or wrong answer, but they should be your answers, not something left to guesswork. And if you've already made a living will or chosen a healthcare proxy, tell your family where those documents are. Don't let them go searching through drawers in a panic one day. Give them the gift of clarity. I know this might stir up some emotion. Maybe it already has. That's okay. These are heavy things, but they're also freeing. When you have these conversations, you're lifting a weight off your shoulders and theirs. You're saying, I trust you. I want you to be prepared, and I love you enough to make this easier when the time comes. It's not about expecting the worst. It's about hoping for the best while planning wisely. And honestly, that's one of the kindest things we can do for the people we love. Let's take a deep breath here. This is big stuff, and I'm so proud of you for being here. for listening, and for caring enough to think about these things. There's more to talk about, of course. We've only just begun. But already, by opening your heart to these first two conversations, you're setting something powerful in motion. You're showing your family what it means to live with wisdom and intention. And that kind of example, it lasts far longer than words. There's something comforting, isn't there, about knowing you've said what needed to be said, that you've passed on more than just things. You've passed on your heart. And once you've opened up those first conversations, it becomes a little easier to step into the next ones, because now the doors are open. And what we talk about next is something many people overlook, but it can change everything for the better. The third conversation you need to have with your family is about your financial wishes and responsibilities. Now, I know money talk isn't always easy. Maybe you grew up in a household where finances weren't discussed at all. Maybe it feels a little awkward or even private, but here's the truth. If you don't talk about it now, your family might have to deal with confusion, tension, or even legal problems down the road. And that's something none of us want for our loved ones. This doesn't mean you have to show every bank statement or give away control. It simply means having an honest and clear discussion about what you've set up and what you'd like to happen when the time comes. For example, do your children know whether you've created a will? Do they know who your executor is? If you've planned for your funeral or left funds for that purpose, have you told them where that information is kept? You don't have to lay everything bare, but let them know enough so that they're not left in the dark. Tell them where your important papers are: insurance documents, deeds, your will, any passwords to financial accounts. You can even keep a small folder or lockbox with all this information and just say, if something ever happens, everything's in here. That small step alone can save them weeks, sometimes months, of stress. And beyond the paperwork, talk about what matters to you. If you want to leave something behind for your grandchildren's education or donate a portion to a cause close to your heart, say that. Let your family hear your reasoning, not just read it in a document. That kind of clarity brings peace, not just for them, but for you. And here's something else worth saying. If things are tight, or if you're worried about making ends meet, it's okay to talk about that too. Sometimes we carry the weight of our worries alone, thinking we'll burden others. But often the people who love us would rather know than wonder. They want the chance to help, to support you, even if it's just by offering encouragement or practical advice. These aren't conversations about numbers. They're about trust, about making sure your voice is heard, not only while you're here, but even after. That's the kind of planning that gives you peace of mind when you put your head on the pillow at night. Now, once the practical matters are addressed, there's another kind of conversation that carries just as much weight, maybe even more, and that's the conversation about your regrets, forgiveness, and healing. I want you to sit with that for a moment. You see, by the time we've reached our 60s, 70s, and beyond, we've seen a lot. We've made mistakes. We've lost people. We've said things we wish we could take back and stayed silent when we should have spoken up. That's part of being human. But there's still time. And healing is still possible, even after all these years. Maybe there's a child you grew apart from over time. Maybe it was an argument that never got resolved. Or maybe it's something you've carried silently in your own heart, unsure how to let it go. This is the moment to say what needs to be said. Sometimes that means reaching out and saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't get it right back then, but I love you, and I never stopped." Other times it means saying, "You hurt me, but I forgive you. I don't want to carry this weight anymore." These conversations are hard. They may bring tears. They may be met with silence. But you don't do it for the response. You do it for the release. You do it for yourself, to lighten the load that's been sitting quietly on your shoulders for too long. And for the people you love, it can mean the world. A single sentence, "I'm proud of you," or "I'm sorry I wasn't always there when you needed me," can repair a bridge that's been broken for years. These are the moments that bring families back together. These are the words that echo long after we're gone. You're not just offering forgiveness, you're offering freedom. To them and to you. And if you find the words hard to say, face to face, that's okay too. Write them in a letter. Leave a voice message. Even a few heartfelt lines scribbled on paper can carry a lifetime's worth of love. This isn't about rehashing old wounds or blaming anyone. It's about freeing yourself from carrying unspoken truths and offering a final gift to the people who matter most, the gift of peace. Take a moment, breathe. You're doing something powerful here. These conversations are not easy, but they're real, and they are deeply needed, because when we speak honestly, sometimes the most important words we'll ever say are the ones we put off the longest. But once you've spoken your truth, once you've shared your values, your wishes, and even your regrets, you'll notice something begins to shift. You start to feel lighter, more connected, more at peace. And that's exactly why there's one more conversation that deserves your time and heart. The final conversation, and perhaps the most meaningful of them all, is the one about your love, your legacy, and your blessings. Let's be honest. No one wants to feel like they've left this world without letting the people they love know just how deeply they were loved. And while we might say, "I love you" in passing, or show it through small acts, this conversation is about going a step deeper. It's about taking the time to say things you might have assumed your family already knows, but that they still long to hear out loud. Tell your children what you admire about them. Remind them of the time they made you proud, not just for what they did, but for who they are. Let your spouse or partner know what their presence in your life has truly meant. Talk to your grandchildren about the joy they bring, the laughter they've sparked, the hope they carry forward just by being themselves. You might feel shy or even silly at first, but these are the words that turn into treasures. The kind of treasures your family will carry with them forever. A simple sentence like, "Watching you become a parent made me feel like my job was done," can bring someone to tears, because deep down we're all just looking for reassurance that we mattered to the people we love. And while you're speaking from your heart, go ahead and share what you hope your legacy will be. Not in a grand public sense, but in a personal, intimate one. Maybe you want to be remembered for your sense of humor or your steady presence during hard times. Maybe it's the meals you cooked every Sunday or the way you always made room for someone at the table. Tell them. Say it with warmth and say it with grace. Your legacy isn't written in stone, it's written in memories, and you have the power to shape those memories by what you share right now. And then, once you've said the things that live closest to your heart, offer your blessings. Offer your hopes for their future. These aren't instructions, they're wishes. A grandmother telling her granddaughter, "I hope you always chase your dreams, no matter how wild they seem." A father saying to his son, "I hope you remember that gentleness is not weakness, it's strength." A partner whispering, "Even when I'm not here, my love will be." These are blessings, words that live on when we no longer can. And saying them out loud, directly, without hesitation, is one of the most powerful gifts you'll ever give. Now, I know that for some of you watching, this may feel overwhelming. You might be thinking, "Where do I even start?" But the truth is, you've already started. Just by thinking about these conversations, just by considering them, you're already doing the most important part, opening your heart. You don't have to say it all in one sitting. These can be small moments shared over a cup of coffee, a walk in the park, or a quiet afternoon phone call. What matters is that they happen, that the people in your life hear your voice, not just now, but long after. And if you've had a rocky road with someone in your family, and you're not sure how they'll respond, remember this. You can only control what you choose to say, not how someone else reacts. Even if they don't respond the way you hope, you'll know you spoke from a place of honesty and love, and that is more than enough. So as we come to the end of this conversation between you and me, let's take a moment to reflect. You've learned how important it is to share your values and life lessons. You've faced the hard truths about medical choices and financial planning. You've looked courageously at healing old wounds, and you've spoken your love and blessings into the world. You've done something remarkable. You've shown up with openness, with strength, with heart. And if no one's told you lately, let me say it now. I'm proud of you, because these conversations, these honest, sometimes difficult, always meaningful talks are the greatest kind of wisdom you can pass down. Not just facts or instructions, but feelings, truths, legacy. So now, go ahead, make the call, invite someone over, share a quiet word, or write a heartfelt note. Whatever you do, don't wait too long, because while tomorrow isn't promised, the love you give today can last a lifetime. If this video brought you comfort or clarity, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. What conversation have you been meaning to have? Or which one have you already started? Let's inspire one another with our stories. And if you found this helpful, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel for more conversations that truly